الدماء يا حي يا قيوم على لا إله وكلوا يا حي يا قيوم على.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. I welcome you once again to another edition of the Eternal Bliss, the program of Nasrullah Elefati Society, NASFAT worldwide. Inshallah, today we shall be discussing a topic that encompasses all, even as a Muslim and as a religion, roles of citizen in good governance. To discuss with us, we have in the studio Imam Marufuddin Abdulaziz Unike, the Chief Missioner, Nasrullah Elefati Society. But before I introduce him, welcome to the program, my co-host,
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much. Welcome to another fresh episode of Eternal Bliss. And like my partner has said, we're looking at the roles of citizens in good governance. Inshallah. Now our guest is here. Should I kick the ball rolling? Alhamdulillah.
Please do.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You are most welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Let me start this way. I want to know, what's your own definition of good governance?
Good governance means giving to the followers what you promise to give them to better their life, what will make their life to be better. When we are appointed as a leader, you are having a trust of the entire populace that you are going to take us to the promised land. You are the one we can trust. You are the one we can close our eyes, and if you ask us to jump into a river, we know that you are going to take care of us. You used to be an advert on television. Allah has assisted us. The husband has been Yaakov. His young boy, his small boy, was soon sitting on the roof of a house, and the father was asking the boy to calm down. Calm down. The innocent boy was saying, "If I have to jump, I'm likely to fracture my leg. I don't want to jump." He keeps on saying, "Jump." Eventually, the boy jumps, and he gets wounded. And the man says, "I just want to teach you a lesson. I don't trust anybody." Good governance is about trust. That if a leader says something, we believe him. A leader takes care of the followers. Good governance was what was demonstrated by Sayyidina Umar alayhi salatu wasalam. When somebody said, "I want to come and see you in the night," when the man came, Umar said, "What do you want to discuss with me? Is it a personal issue or a national issue? Or what have to do with the nation?" He said, "No, it's a personal issue." Umar put off the lantern that he was using, because he said that lantern belonged to the government.
Allah Akbar.
He now put on his own lantern.
Because it's a personal issue.
Good governance is not betraying the trust that the electorate have imposed in you. Even taking care of them more than they have expected. I already mentioned him, one of the candidates in the last presidential election was able to get the vote, or partially the vote of the entire state where he was once a governor. And I was marveled. I was surprised. And somebody told me that I haven't forgotten that when the man was governing the state, there's no particular house that the man did not send one or two of their children abroad for study. That is a payback time. He has left a legacy in terms of capacity building of the citizens of that state. You deliver good governance when people trust you and you don't betray the trust. You deliver good governance when people can say, "Okay, we are transferring our own life to you, and do it the way you think is better
That's
for
good.
us." And you do it that way. Because when you vote into power, even if their parents, if their child, if their wife is sick, they expect you to be there for them. Sayyidina Umar used to move around the city when he was Amirul Mu'minin, and he had a woman trying to fry something on the fire. Underneath, he had a baby crying. Umar silently knocked on the door. He entered the house. He said, "What happened?" The woman started cursing Umar. There's one particular leader that we have got now. It's Umar who is starving us. We are not getting food to eat. This water that you see on the fire, There's nothing I want to cook with it. I'm just using it to deceive my
children
to sleep, so that by the time they are expecting the food to get cooked, they will sleep off. Woman ran out. He picked bags of rice, bag of beans, carried it on his own load, and took it to the woman. Because he knows that he's going to be made accountable on the day of Qiyamah.
for every of the governance. But in this part of the world, where good governance are limited to provisions of good roads, infrastructure, and other things, can we equate good governance with democratic dividends?
When they say dividends, dividends means your life will be better than it was before. If I'm getting that, the average Nigerian does not care who is in Abuja. As long as they have security, as long as they have roof over their head, as long as they are not sending away their children from school, as long as they are not being kidnapped, as long as they are living comfortably well. When you are talking about dividend democracy, it could be dividend of any form of government. Dividend is, I've elected into power, you have to take care of my life. I'm not saying it will be feeding me, but it will create
basic amenities,
create enabling environment for me to exhibit my potentials.
Oh, no.
If I have to be the good engineer, let the environment be there for me. Don't let me japa before you know what is happening. If I study, let me find a place to utilize the knowledge that I've acquired. But unfortunately, what we are getting in this part of the world is contrary to that expectation. People are trained up to university level, and by the time they graduate and they cannot get a job, they move out. And they become they go into what we call second slavery. Because second slavery, but there's a particular level that you not get to in the system that you have transferred yourself into. Because they have their own children too, who they want to propel to a higher position. If I'm in a particular place, they will tell you eventually that you could be a British, you could be a Briton, or you cannot be British.
You could be a Briton, but you cannot be British.
They will eventually tell you that by coming to Britain, by getting the red card, you have become a Briton, but you are not British.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Guys, as citizens, what are the duties expected of us to the government?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I just want my audience to know and to note that we are the true reflections of our leaders. If you are being led by a bad set of people, it means you are bad too. It means we have mutual role to play. Ibn Abbas said, when Allah is pleased with a nation, He entrusts their leadership with their best. When Allah is displeased with a nation, He entrusts their leadership with their worst. Our role as the led to the leaders are many. Number one, you must ensure that the right shows people are voted into power. It saddens me when somebody showed me a video some time ago that where a scholar, a respected scholar for that matter, was campaigning against democracy, was campaigning against voting system, that people should not vote. How can you disenfranchise yourself and later claim that you are not being well governed? One of the fundamental rules of the led, of the governed, is to vote a righteous set of people into power. Don't disenfranchise yourself. When they were asking people to come and collect PVC card, NASFAT took it up as a campaign, and we encourage our members from all walks of life to go and get their PVC card. Because if you don't do it, you are contributing to the decadence, you are contributing to the misgovernance, you are contributing to the maladministration, you are contributing to the ills of the society. Our prophet says, إِذَا رَأَى مِنْكُمُ الْمُنْكَرَ فَلْيُغَيِّرْهُ بِيَدِهِ فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِلِسَانِهِ فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِقَلْبِهِ ذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ. He said, if any of you sees a bad thing, he should correct it with his hand. If you cannot do that, he should correct it with his mouth. If you cannot do that, he should correct it in his mind, in his heart. But that is the weakest of all faith. When you say correct with your hand, how do you correct with your hand if you don't have a PVC? How do you correct with your hand if you don't get involved in voting?
In voting.
And people who are not fit to be your leaders, they find their ways to be at the top. It means they are going to determine your fate. They are going to determine your destiny in the next 4 years. The first responsibility of the led of the electorate, of the people, is to ensure that they participate in the voting exercise. And they should vote with their eyes open. They should look at the manifesto and vote the best among them, because we are the reflection of our leaders. As I was saying, one of the roles of the led, of the followers, is to continuously pray for their leaders. Abubakar al-Marusi reported, he said he heard Ahmad ibn Hanbali, may Allah be pleased with him, mentioning Khalif al-Mutawakkil, and he said, indeed, I pray for his righteousness and well-being. He said, Inni lakhadi'u lahu bis-salahi wal-hafiyah, that I pray for Mutawakkil, I pray for him to be righteous, and I pray to Allah to give him good health. How many of us remember our leaders in prayer? How many of us remember our governors in prayer? How many of us remember our president in prayers? It's our responsibility as Muslims to always pray for them. Number 3, you have to participate in the process of decision making. They are calling for referendum. They ask people to come and discuss a bill that's about to be passed in the House. You continue with your trade. You don't participate. If you take a decision, it will definitely affect you. As somebody is staying in a particular community, you don't attend the CDA, you don't attend the local government meeting, you don't attend any meeting, and they now say that nobody should call Adhan again in that environment, because you are not taking part in the decision-making process. You are checking your responsibility. The third role is every Muslim, every Nigerian, every person who is being governed should be interested in what happens in the state assembly, should be interested in what happens in the national assembly. And in fairness to them, most of the time they call for referendum before any bill is passed. They will ask you to come and talk. How many of us attend such gathering? If you attend the gathering, you will make your own input. I can remember vividly when they had to talk about, when they wanted to pass the law on cremation in Lagos State, when they were trying to move the idea of burning the dead. We Muslims, we rose up. We fought against it. I could remember that I was going to the state assembly then. Most of us, Muslim leaders, followers, we were going there to let them know the position of Islam on cremation or the honor of the dead. And they listen to us. But if you don't participate in decision-making process in your environment, in your local government, in your state, they will pass a law, they will pass a bill that will negatively affect you, and you will be crying over spilled milk. They may say nobody should build a mosque again. You don't have any say. Because when they ask you to come and submit your own proposal, come and hear your view, you stay indoors. That's the third responsibility that every person being led has to play. Participate in the process of taking decision. And fortunately for us in Islam, consultation is one of the key aspects of Islam. Allah taught us consultation himself in Quran chapter 2 verse 31. Say, Allah said, when we say to the angel, we want to establish vigilant on earth, on the surface of the earth. Talking to the angel by Allah is not Allah seeking their permission. It's Allah teaching us that if you want to do something, carry other people along. Government is trying to carry us along, and we are hiding our heads. We are hiding our faces. It's your responsibility as somebody, as a citizen, to ensure that whenever a referendum is being called by the state assembly, by the national assembly, leave whatever you are doing and go and do it. The same thing goes down to the community level. You don't attend CDA meeting, you don't attend resident association meeting, and they pass a law, they take a decision that will affect the practice of your religion. Even in the market, you are selling in the market, you don't participate in the market association, and they now say that they want to do Ogun for them to make sales, and you have to contribute money. It is then you can now realize that why should I contribute money to Ogun festival? But when they were taking that decision,
we were not there.
I know we have to be found.
Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin. This is an interesting topic, but let's go to the streets now and hear what the people out there, what do they have to say about the roles of citizens in good governance. We will be right back. Thank you.
Mahmoud Bayo Alabidun.
Is Onike Aziz Aminat.
Kodri Adelaguno Jim. Followers are supposed to be citizens who comply with the laws, who also make it easy for the leaders to be able to govern very well, to abide by whatever directives they've given, to also criticize those in leadership position constructively, not destructively, point out their weaknesses and also advise them as to how they can do it better than the way it is. It's not for them to be organizing revolt, to be organizing destruction, just to show government that they don't like what they have been doing to them.
Be the change you want to see. So definitely, for you to say, want to be the change that you hope to see. If you hope for a better country, if you hope for a better nation, or you hope for a better community, you need to also be able to do some things that even the leader, like you don't need a leader to be able to do some things that you want to do yourself. So little things like going for community engagement, little things like be disciplined, because you are the image that people are seeing. You are representing your community. So just be the change you want to see, basically.
I like give leadership, and it is for you to abide by what your leader does. And if your leader want to go astray, you put him right. You draw his attention to the fact that, sir, these are the things, of Allah, these are these things. You might want to suppress it, but you continue to put him right, because the level of about leadership can be likened to a similitude of the way leader operates, can be likened to a driver. A driver of a vehicle, when you see them driving, in most times they are possessed. Satan are in them. So if you don't calm them down, sir, just take it easy, calm, and you just want to put up quarrel with him, all of you will end up in a bush. But when you calm it down, same way you calm your leader down, you persuade him, you draw them, not by force, because most of them, if you use force, they want to use force against you too. They will all the bottom. But when you appeal to their sense of reasoning, in most cases it works out well.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. You're welcome back. The program is still Eternal Bliss. And today we've been talking about good governance. What is our role as citizens? Alhamdulillah. Again, before we went for that short break, we mentioned a lot, citizens' participation in decision making and everything. Are there other roles that the citizen needs to play?
Another important role that you have to play as a citizen is to advise and warn your leaders. But you must know how to warn. Al-Musani reported, Al-Safi, may Allah be pleased with him, said, whoever admonishes his brother in private has been sincere to him and protected his reputation. Whoever admonishes him in public has humiliated him and betrayed him. And that is how. What is advice? Advise your leader. How do you do it? Advise them privately. But unfortunately for some of those who are leading us in Lagos State and in Nigeria, they are accessible in terms of phone call, in terms of sending SMS messages, in terms of sending WhatsApp messages. If you want to advise them, we are not saying to go into pages of paper and be lambasting them and be criticizing them. Your leaders deserve your advice. Your leaders deserve your warning. You can write in a paper, drop it for them, or you can write in a newspaper without maligning their integrity, without ridiculing them. You can say, okay, this one, I've noticed that they are sold up in this area. Can you change the transport system? Can you do something here? There's a way you warn, there's a way you advise, that you will not be seen to be abusing the government. That can land you in jail. It's the responsibility of any citizen to advise and warn the leader when he realizes that the leader is going astray. But how is what Imam Safi says. If you advise him in private, you have honored him, you have respected him. But if you now go out and be saying, you have been condemning it, the way some of our social critics used to do, they will address press and they will lambasting the government. If you are lambasting the government, you are abusing your leader, you are telling Allah that we has pleased the authority, Allah has made a mistake.
Alhamdulillah. The last one on the expectation of citizens in good governance.
As a citizen, because Allah says, Wala tufsidu fil ardi ba'da islahiha, don't cause corruption in the land after it has been made perfect. As a citizen, you must maintain peace and ensure that there's no rancor, there's no violence. It's your role to ensure that there's peace. If you see something, say something. If you notice people wandering around and are not part of your environment, not part of your community, don't say it doesn't concern me. After I've not been affected, you are neglecting your role as a citizen. You must ensure peaceful coexistence. You must ensure that peace reigns supreme in that institution, in that environment, in that community. It's a role because Allah will ask you.
As much as you have critically stated the roles of citizens in good governance, I would like to ask, are there limitations to that roles as citizens in same good governance?
One of the key limitations to citizen role is lack of education. We used to have what you call MAMSA. We used to have what you call National Orientation Agency. I don't know whether the NO is still existing, but a lot of people are not well educated, they're not well enlightened. They don't know their responsibilities. People know their rights, but some of them don't know their responsibilities. They don't know that you can do this to ensure that we are living peacefully. There must be continuous citizen education. When we wanted to start the election, I want to appreciate that there was a massive voters education. Massive voters education. How do you thumbprint? How do you drop the paper, voters paper, ballot paper? How do you queue? That's the kind of thing we expect from the government. If people are not fools, people are not morons. If they are well educated and people know the consequences of not following the rules. When the Ijagban was there, nobody dare jump the queue because you know the consequence. The government, you need to educate us. And we are not saying that they should just be hiding somewhere, like some traffic warden will do, that they will be watching those who will break the light, traffic light, and they will just arrest the person. Let them know the implication of breaking the traffic light. Let them know that if they break the traffic light anyhow, they can cut short the life of another person. There's this story of a boy who asked his father when the father stopped at the traffic light. He said, "Why did you stop?" The father said, "Because the traffic light showed red." He said, if you cross, what will happen? He said, "I will cause an accident." If you cause an accident, what will happen? The man said, "Somebody will die." The boy said, "If the man said that, what will happen?" He said, "Do you want to die too?" There's something we call self-evident truth. When the man got to the level of self-evident truth, that he want to die too. And the boy said, "I don't want to die." People need to be educated on their roles as citizens. When we were young, we used to do a subject called civic
education.
Eventually, it was cancelled. It was cancelled. Regardless of the course of study that you are doing, even up to university level, you must do something that has to do with your responsibility. People don't pay tax. They don't know the implication of paying tax. They don't know where their tax is going. I was in Sudan a few years ago, and I was marveled. I was surprised when I realized that Sudanese were not chased to come and pay zakat again. I said, why? They said they have been well educated on the importance of paying zakat. That when it is time for them to pay zakat, people will just come out. Government is sweating. Government is running a tasketa. Government is spending resources to come and educate us to come and pay, asking to come and pay tax. People are not being well educated. If I pay this tax, where is it going to? But you can show it to me. This road is built because you pay your tax promptly. This school is well equipped because you pay your tax promptly. And they don't see you flaunting on their faces. They will trust you. And that will take us back to the foundation of this topic. That good governance means the citizen, trusting the leaders, trusting those who are at the end of affairs. That, okay, if you ask us to close our eyes, we close our eyes because we have trusted you. The whole thing boils down on trust. The limitation to the citizen awareness is lack of education. They don't know what is expected of them. They don't know that if you do this, this is what will happen. You see a lot of people breaking rules. When they do demarcation on the road, and people will cut it to go and do spoon. We let them know that by putting the demarcation there, we are debarring the vehicle from crossing to the other side. And if you don't cross the other side, there will be reduced carnage on the road. You know, you say the victim could be my parent too.
Exactly.
The victim. Somebody went to the Prophet and he said, "What is wrong in doing sinner? What is wrong in doing fornication?" The Prophet said, "Would you like that to do it to your daughter? Would you like it to be done to your mother?" He said, "No. It's going to be done." People need to be well educated. When we had Mansa, we used to say, if you're a messenger, message well. If you're a driver, drive well. And it became a sing-song in the subconscious mind of every Nigerian day. There's nothing like that again. There's remedial jingles on why we should do what we are supposed to do.
Exactly, just like the National Orientation Agency that is doing that, giving people that education. So governance is all about you and I. The led need what to do, and you, those who are even leading, one of it is that let the people be orientated, let them be educated, let them know what are the duties so that they can know and they don't do it, what they will do.
You mentioned an orientation agency.
Yes, sir.
Their silence is too loud.
Their silence
is too loud.
What are the benefits of ensuring good governance?
The benefit is that you are going to have good security, you are going to have good education for your children, you are going to have roof over your head, you will sleep with your eyes closed. You will not spend 3-4 hours on the road because of lack of bad road. You have a better life. In summary, this benefit of governance is having a better life.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Your advice, sir?
My advice to Nigerians and to the entire Muslim is to ensure that we play our own part and leave the rest to government. Play your own part. At the time you are asked by Allah, what were you doing when you saw things going wrong? Did you just hold your cheeks, or you play your own part? Either you talk, or you correct with your hand by voting, or by praying. Either of them. But prayer is the last resort and the weakest of all faith. But our own part is to ensure that you vote wisely. If you don't vote wisely, you are expecting Moron to lead for the next 4 years. I'm going to continue to advise you that vote buying should never be in your dictionary. Because if you sell your vote for 2,000 naira, 3,000 naira, you have sold your conscience, you have sold your destiny, you have sold your children's destiny, you have sold your family destiny for the next 4 years. And you have no moral right to condemn the government in power. Because you use your hand to cause destruction for yourself.
See, if you are going into that, you are using your own power, your own hand to constitute destruction. May Allah save us from that. That is all much we can take on today's program. What we have been talking about is the citizens' roles in good governance. I will say Jazakumullahu Khairan. So our guest today, the Chief Missioner of NASFAT, Imam Morufu Abdulaziz Onike, Jazakumullahu Khairan. We pray Allah to continue to elevate you and reward you abundantly for this knowledge you are sharing with everybody on this program.
Alhamdulillah, we thank you, and I appreciate you giving me the time to come and hear my view. Whatever I've said here that is right, may Allah give us the reward. Whatever I've said here that is wrong, may Allah forgive all of us.
Amen.
Wala hawla wala quwwata
illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. With that prayer, we'll call it a day on today's program. Till we see you tomorrow, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
عليتنا يا أيها يا قيوم على Olúwa wahab lana ya ayu ya qayyum.